Okay, class, let's go over practice 5E. I'm on page 5-40 of our textbook, and we are going to create a door to an opening using snaps to position it precisely. So I've opened up my MyCreatingaDoor.max starter file. I'm going to save as and find my place. I should have done this before I started the video, but my work, and again, underscore Eric. Now I've got my file. I'm not changing the existing starter file, so I can always go back to it and start over if I need to. So we need to do this in the perspective viewport. It just helps us show it. So right click in there to make it active and hit Alt W to expand it. And what we want to do is come around to, we can see this view a little bit better. So just kind of zoom in until we can see kind of what we want as far as being able to see the sill, and then hit zoom maybe to select one of the faces. If you're having trouble zooming in and don't get the kind of view that you want, it might take a little bit to get to where you want. There, I'm happy with that. So make sure that you have default shading selected and shading with edged faces also. So you want shading with edged faces. Display selected with edge, shading selected faces. So let's see what that one does there. That one does not change it much. We have what we need here. This is the edged faces here. So we've zoomed into the doorway as much as we can right now, and we are going to go and click on, make sure that 3D snaps are selected. In the command panel, verify that geometry is open. So geometry, and expand the standard primitives and select doors. So standard primitives, and we're going to go all down to doors. So the next step, step 6, is an object type rollout. Click pivot to start the door creation process. Pivot. This is going to give us the location of where the hinge is at. Right click on the interface item menu to open the snaps. Ooh, pivot. Right click on the interface, so that's this. And click on the snap to endpoint toggle. I've got that endpoint toggle. And actually, I'm on the wrong one here. Oh, it's slightly different in ours. So this is still the same, endpoint and midpoint. This is the 2021 version of 3ds Max. I'm looking at a 2019 book. If I undo this, that is still bringing us into the same place. That's the snap angle toggle, and the others. Let's see. So we have what we need. I right click this, and we are where we need to be. There's endpoint there. So hover the cursor at the bottom left corner of the door here, and it should highlight to show the endpoint there. The symbol is hard to see through the video, but it should have that little diagonal line going to the corner as a endpoint. Click and hold at this point, and then while still holding, drag the cursor over to the lower right corner. Click and hold and drag over to the other corner. It still shows that endpoint right there. Once it snaps to the lower right corner, release the mouse button to define the width of the door. So there's the width of the door. It says, if you have difficulty with this, change the orientation of the perspective viewport as shown below. You can rotate it a little bit to get where you need it to be. So it says move the cursor to the back corner of the door opening and click. Not click and drag this time, to define the depth of the opening as shown. So we're going to go back here. Let's find that endpoint that we need. The back of the opening. It's hard to get. Right now it wants to go. Let me right click this and take off the face. And I'm going to have to undo that because it blew it completely out. So I've just got endpoint and midpoint on. So I've still got pivot and door going. So I'm going to start that command all over again. To there. And now to there. And now it says move the cursor to the upper right corner of the door opening. Endpoint to define the height as shown in figure 5-61. So depending on the angle, they said it could be difficult to do again. You can toggle off the snap by pressing S and then adjust the height using parameters rollout if you need to. Remember the opening was 7 feet tall. Right now my door is 7 feet tall, which is good. The width is 6'4", which is pretty incredible, but that's going to be adjusted here soon. So select display geometry in the scene explorer, which again is turned off for me. And we want to display geometry. Right now everything's on, so select the double doors. Oh, verify that pivot door is still selected. Pivot door is still selected. And now in the modify panel, make sure it says pivot door at the top. In the parameters rollout, we're going to select double doors. We want it to be a double door because a single door at 4 foot or 6'4" wide is gigantic. Set the opening angle to 45. Typical opening angle on most floor plans is either 45 or 90. And then in the panels area, select beveled. So come down to where the panels are at, and we want beveled. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see the difference. They're beveled in the panel part of it. The doors will change to double doors with beveled panels and will be open at a 45-degree angle as shown on figure 5-62. So set the open angle back to 0 degrees and to display the panels as closed, or leave them as they are. Save your file and turn in as MyCreatingaDoor _ your first name .max.